With an air of excitement, Toronto's downtown would seem a world away. But the security clampdown tonight clearly illustrates the countermeasures to a threat. Layers of trucks blocking vehicles from getting near crowds of Leaf fans, and a much larger than usual police presence.
I feel a lot safer than I usually would, and because it's the Leafs, so I'm good. I'm coming here and I'm enjoying myself.
We're not going to let fear take over the day, so we're going to make sure we're going to go out there and have fun, because at the end of the day, that's what the individual might want to take away from us, is that sense of freedom, but we're not going to let that take over, so we're going to enjoy the day over here.
Words can't even describe on how awful this tragic event is, but if you look around, this is what brings everyone together. So as one, we're going to unite, and like I said, we'll continue to be strong.
Tonight's security tightening is actually round two, because less than a month ago, Toronto police announced that they were going to be clamping down on security around big events, even blocking people from parking underground unless they could prove they were residents. Security experts pointed to the threat of a vehicle being used as a weapon. The mayor back then alluded to it too.
It's 2018, and we've seen incidents happen, unfortunately, outside of sports venues and concert venues and so on around the world that would have caused us, as we did, we meaning the police, the security officials, and everybody else, to review security.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise if you're able to and remove your hats.
The Leafs-Bruins game began tonight in silence. In a big city, an opportunity to remember those killed and a reminder of the danger that lurks.
And David is outside Toronto City Hall tonight, a popular place for tourists, but local residents too. And this attack clearly has rattled some nerves. And so what are people doing to counteract that uneasiness?
Well, you know, Ian, you see that the landmark Toronto sign behind me is dimmed, but on porches, the lights are in fact very much on, particularly in that Yonge and Finch, Yonge and Sheppard area, the area of this city, the uptown, downtown where all of this took place. So many people unable to get home because traffic and transit was so complicated this evening. Some areas were shut down, and so those porch lights are on, indicating to people they are welcome to come into that house, to stay there if necessary, people opening their homes, opening their doors to help out one another on this, a day of tragedy in this city.
A gesture we've seen in other cities around the world. Thanks, David. As Toronto mourns, condolences have been coming in from around the world. British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson, who's here in Toronto for the G7 meeting, wrote on Twitter, "Very sad to see the news of the incident in Toronto earlier today as I was visiting the city. My thoughts with those affected, their families and friends, and the emergency services personnel responding." And from the French President, Emmanuel Macron, his tweet translated from French reads, "I express my profound solidarity with the Canadian people after the tragedy that just struck the city of Toronto." And the U.S. Vice President Mike Pence writing, "The President and I are closely monitoring the attack on innocent people in Toronto this afternoon. We are with the Canadian people tonight as they grieve the loss of life and injured. The American people stand shoulder to shoulder with our neighbors in Canada."